So yesterday we did example 1 together, and then you needed to do example 2 at home. So it says if B is between A and C, so you should start off with your drawing. It doesn't matter where point B is on the line as long as it's between A and C. And then you can see I labeled them. Now, whenever you have parentheses and something in front, what property do you have to use to simplify? Distribute. Good, okay, so when you distribute 1/4, it's just like you're dividing by 4. So 16 divided by 4 is 4, so you get 4x. 24 divided by 4 is 6. So that's why I labeled AB as 4x plus 6 instead of 1/4 times 16x plus 24. Okay, and then you have the 7x plus 15. The length of the entire segment is 120. So then you're going to set up your equation. When you set up your equation, what I did is I combined my like terms right away. So if you're adding these together, and you may have even have that as your first step, that 4x plus 6 plus 7x plus 15 is going to equal 120, and then you're going to combine your like terms. So 4x and 7x is 11x, 6 and 15 is going to be 21. Subtract 21 from both sides, divide by 11, you get x is 9. Now yesterday we also just went over that I'll highlight what you have to find. So you're not done when you find x. You have to find a, b, and b, c. And if AB is 4x plus 6, all I have to do is substitute 9 in for x to get 42. I have to substitute 9 in for x and BC to get 78. Yes?
Wait, where did you get the 4x plus 6?
Oh, so what I did is I simplified the 1/4 times 16x plus 24. Oh, on a different one, okay. Yep, so we use the distributive property to simplify that there. Okay, and then did we get through all of example 3 together? Okay, perfect. Okay, so the second thing we talked about, just to recap from yesterday, is that bisector, which a bisector cuts this into 2 equal parts, which is why we were able to set those equal to each other and then solve for x, plug back in, and then this one was a little bit different. So we had to find the full length, but we only know what this part is, which you can just double since both of those are the same. So if this side is 7, the other side is 7, the total length is 14. So let's see how we did on example 4, which was something that you guys did on your own. Now, when you are simplifying this, see how it's 2/3? When you are multiplying that by 4/5, I'll show you a way that you can do it without your calculator. So what you're doing is multiplying by 2 and then dividing by 3. So if you multiply 4.5 by 2, what do you get? What's 4.5 times 2? 9. Good. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Okay? Now, of course, you could use your calculator to do that, but just a way to show you how you can do it pretty quickly without it. Same thing here. If you do 2 times 1.5, what do you get? 3, and then 3 divided by 3 is 1. And then you're going to keep the sign. So an opposite negative times a positive will be a negative. So then when I labeled this as 3x minus 1, and then they gave me AD was 12 minus x, but they didn't give me what CD was. Did that really matter? No, because if it's a bisector, whatever this side is, this is going to be the same thing. Okay, so this side is also going to be 3x minus 1. Now, you can set that up a couple of different ways. You can do 3x minus 1 plus 3x minus 1, or you can just multiply by 2. So that's just a personal preference. Okay, and then so whatever you choose, your next step is going to give you 6x minus 2. 3x and 3x is 6x, negative 1 and negative 1 is negative 2, and then you are going to get all of your variables on one side, all of your numbers on the other side. And then again, it's your choice for what side you want to move those to. I chose to move the x over to 6x to keep them positive, but you don't have to. I chose to add over the 2 to make that, again, a positive number. And then if you divide 14 by 7, you'll get 2. And then again, we just want to remember what we're trying to find. This does have you find the value of x, so that is going to be your first answer. But then you also have to find AD, which is 12 minus x. So then you can just substitute in 2 for x. Okay. All right, and then let's look at the last one. We started this, did we get to go all the way through example 5? No. Okay. So the bisector and the midpoint have very similar jobs. The bisector and the midpoint, Max, they both do what? Yep, so they're both in the middle, which means that they're going to split it into 2 equal parts. Okay, they both do that. And that's something that we highlighted, right? On both of those flaps you can see in your notebook. So when they tell you M is the midpoint and you're given PM, even if you aren't given what MQ is, you know it's going to be the same thing. And then again, you can see that I distributed the 1/2. So 1/2 times 10, half of 10 is 5, half of 16 is 8. So that's why I labeled it as the 5x plus 8. How are you guys doing with the distributive property? Very good. All right, so then what I did is I multiplied by 2 times 5x plus 8. Again, if you just want to add them together, that's fine. It doesn't matter if you double it or just add it to itself. You're going to end up with 10x plus 16. Okay? And then get all of your values, your constants on one side, and then divide to find x. Once you find out what x is, then you can substitute to find PM. Okay, so PM is 5x plus 8. If I substitute in 6, then I will get 38. All right, and then for example 6, it says M is the midpoint of PQ. So when you're doing this, I hope that your setup is starting with your picture. So you have PQ. If M is the midpoint, what I do right away is I mark off that those are going to be congruent. Okay, now PM is 9x plus 3. MQ is 11x minus 17, and I have to find x. Well, now I don't know what the whole thing is. I only have each of those parts. So what can I do with both of those to find x? Yep. Good. And what's my equation going to be?
9x plus 3 equals 11x minus 17.
Good. Okay, so these two segments are congruent, which means they're equal. So then once I set that up, you choose where you want to move your variables. I like to keep my variables positive when possible, and then see how I'll move my x's first. And then after that, I'll move my numbers. So if my x's are on this side, then I know that I'm moving my numbers to the other side. And then I'll divide by 2, which will give me 10. So not only did I have to find x, but I also had to find PQ, which is the total length. I can just find out what half of the length is. So I know that PM is 9x plus 3. So that would be 93. So if I wanted to find PQ, the 93, Jillian, what can I do to that? To find the whole thing, PQ, times it by 2. Okay, so PQ is just going to be 2 times 93, or 93 plus 93. And if you want to do that in your head, do you guys know what 2 times 90 is? 180, and then 3 times 2 is 6. So then you just add those together to get 186. All right. Excellent job.
He wants to glue it in now. He wants to glue it in now.
Yes, go, so you can go ahead and you can glue that in.